We get a strong sense that this has become a youth awakening across India today, which is why in the course of the first 1 hour on this special 3-hour edition of the News Hour, we will focus on the youth because they've spoken up and how. From different locations across the country, I'd first like to welcome our youth representatives. With me in the studio here, to my left is Ananya Srivastav. She's a member of a group called Zero Tolerance. Her co-colleague, who's legal advisor with Zero Tolerance, Ankita Verma, is also with us in the studios. They've been fighting in different cases, and thank you for coming. Also with us, joining us to the top left of your screen, there is Mishika Singh. She's convener of Slut Walk. She joins us from Jantar Mantar. Mishika, thank you. And thank you for waiting so long on a cold evening. Gautami Chalagula. She is a Times Now viewer. She's co-founder of Wings and Oars Media Communications, media professional, and she's joining us from Hyderabad. She's on the bottom left of your screen. Rati is an IT engineer, and she is joining us from Freedom Park in Bengaluru. Rati, thank you for coming. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm delighted to be joined by the feisty and independent senior advocate from New Delhi, Malavika Rajkotia. And of course, by the political editor of the Outlook magazine, Sabha Naqvi. Thank you very much, Malavika and Sabha as well. But today I go to the youngest representatives on this program first. So I'd like to start by asking you, Ananya, you are part of Zero Tolerance. I'd first like to know whether you think this is a youth uprising that we are seeing, a peaceful youth awakening. It's on Twitter, it's on social media. People are beginning to speak up. A large number of the people at Freedom Park or Jantar Mantar or Juhu are young people. Why has this become viral among young people today?
People, at least me, I've been so active on Facebook. I read people's status updates more than I read NDTV or any other news channel. So I get to know the happenings of this society through Facebook or Twitter. So it has become a big thing because people are commenting on those statuses and revolting as to what needs to be done, and there's so much bad happening in the society.
What do you feel, Ankita? You've been with Zero Tolerance. What is Zero Tolerance? It has worked following the Keenan Rubin case. Tell me a little bit about Zero Tolerance and why do you think this particular movement is going so viral?
Well, Arnab, Zero Tolerance was basically a movement to demand amendments in the existing laws as well as enactment of new laws. We had already lost two brave hearts last year.
Keenan and Rubin.
Keenan and Rubin last year,
yeah,
to make us actually awaken to the fact that this kind of completely non-social thing is going on in the society. Mumbai was considered to be very safe.
Yes.
And we had meetings with the Home Minister, we followed it up, we were assured a lot of things during our campaign. However, everything just fizzled out. We were even assured a fast-track trial.
It was fizzled out the moment the media attention went away.
Absolutely, absolutely. We were in fact assured fast-track justice for Keenan and Rubin as well. Until today, we have just filed a charge sheet.
For 1 year, this case has just come to trial now.
20th October, the incident happened. 24th of November, we met the Home Minister. 7th of December, we sent him a follow-up letter. He had asked us to nominate a person to a committee, high-powered committee for suggesting women law reforms.
Noted, yes.
And after that, we haven't heard anything.
So my worry is really, Ankita, as I hear you there is, politicians respond only to media or to embarrassment.
Absolutely.
Right. Therefore, they'd like to control the media. But at the same time, they also respond to embarrassment. Now, in Keenan and Rubin case, when the pressure is put to the politicians and the police and they are told to be accountable, they respond so long as the media spotlight is on it. My worry is, and I'd like to take this to Mishika, who's at Jantar Mantar, that Mishika, if you can hear me, this Arnab here, there would be some people who would want this. Mishika, there would be some people who would want this to dissipate quickly, you see, for this to vaporize in a few days so that they can get on with their normal lives and this movement itself dies down. But do you think, as a young person out there who has defied the system on previous occasions, do you think this will die down?
I don't think so, Arnab, because this time people are really agitated. I was there in India Gate also a few days back, and people there are angry, people are hurt. People can see that these things can happen to their daughters, their sisters. So I'm pretty sure this is not going to dissipate that easily. The government can try to delay it, but people are going to come on roads every day. Today is the 11th day when she's finally succumbed to her injuries, and the victim has died today. But people have been coming every day. They put section 144 at India Gate, so we're not allowed to assemble there. So we're finding new places to assemble at, but we definitely not going to let this out till the time we get justice. And by justice, I don't only mean that we want severe punishment for rapists, but also to see to the fact that they actually get convicted, because the conviction rate in rape cases is really low. A lot of cases are still pending in the courtroom. So what we want is fast trial, speedy trial, and conviction
No, I
that should
understand.
actually be there. The conviction rate should come up.
I understand what you're saying, but let me go across to Bengaluru. Mishika, please stay on there with us because I want to take this conversation forward with the youth. I'd like to ask Rati, if you're there. Rati is an IT engineer. She's in Bengaluru. You see, Rati, with the Pratibha Murthy case, I'm sure you may have heard of it. The Pratibha Murthy rape and murder case. The media has been talking about it. This IT professional who was raped and murdered, but the case drags on in court. Among the people who came to Freedom Park, do they remember the Pratibha Murthy case?
Absolutely, they remember each and every case which has happened. They are not only talking about Pratibha Murthy's case, they are talking about each and every case over here. We are talking as an Indian, we are not talking specific to each case. And let me inform you that this lady, I should not call her a lady, I should call her an angel. This angel died, she shook the nation, she woke everybody up, and now she went back to heaven. So I should rather say that she woke each one of us over here.
You feel she's shaken the conscience of the nation, Rati?
Absolutely, and that's the reason each one of us are here. Do you think it had ever happened before? No, it has never happened before. It happened right now, because now it's enough is enough for us.
I'm so glad you're speaking like this.
The worst part is that the government.
Yes.
To be honest, I have learned this from you, from Times Now. Hats off to the way you are putting the people, the way you're questioning them, because they deserve this.
Well, it's time to put those who need to be put on the mat on the mat.
What is dented?
And yes.
They have no right. What kind of people are they? They have no right to even talk dented and painted. Are they looking at protesters, or are they looking at the matter for which we are fighting for? What are they looking for?
Well, I think we need to put an uncompromising amount of pressure on the system to get the right results, Rati. I'm just coming back to you, Rati, in a minute. I want to go to Gautami Chalagula, who is joining us from our studios in Hyderabad. Gautami, you've been watching this. I mean, I've been watching this transfixed while presenting this program today. I've been looking at the screen. I've been trying to understand what the people are saying. One thing which comes across to me very, very clearly as a broadcaster is that 75% at least of the people who are out there are very, very young people. By very young people, I mean, I would say the under 30 generation. You actually look at many of the people who came out there this morning. So many young people have come out there today. So many young women. So many young men have come there today. I don't know if you've noticed the demographics. It's been very clear to me. Do you think the message is going to go across that the young people have woken up? Gautami?
Arnab, firstly, what I would like to say is there's one question which all of us need to ask, both girls and boys. It is about how much is too much. You know, now because there's a rod inserted and the girl died, is that too much? Or a look, a stare, a touch? I think we need to decide on, define how much is too much.
Yep.
So for someone, a look can be offensive and it can lead to a suicide as well. We're not talking about, so the problem is when we're trying to quantify the violence. And second thing is, I think we are all trying to be reactive in saying that protect us. Arnav, we are living in a democratic country, and when I say Hyderabad is my hometown, it should be like my home. Why are we saying protect? It means there is some violent action elsewhere, which is why there's a reaction of protection. So the steps need to be more proactive, and thought should be put in terms of, why is somebody trying to attack? Okay, I'm trying to protect myself, but why is there out someone who's trying to attack me or someone else who's weaker?
I agree with you. I think it's horrible to have a gradations of rape. And people who say how brutal was the rape, this was a more brutal case of rape, it needs to be treated as rarest of rare. We've made the point consistently, Gautami, on our channel, that there are no gradations of rape. And we've also made the point we need to stop talking about eve teasing. We need to call it harassment. We need to stop being demeaning to people who suffer from harassment and then call it eve teasing. It's a patronizing and sexist comment. We made these suggestions. I don't know how much of this is going through, but we'll keep trying. I'd like to go across Shalaka, and I'd like to welcome back Aditya Paul, who's coordinator of Zero Tolerance and Shalaka member of Zero Tolerance. Shalaka, what do you feel about this being a youth-driven movement? For the first time, I sense it is becoming youth-driven.
Yes, absolutely, because the youth can relate.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that is playing on everybody's minds, which we haven't heard of much, is that this is something that is ingrained inside our society right now. Yes, law enforcement is to be blamed to a degree. Yes, the politics and play everything. But at the same time, we need to think about society. This is how people feel internally. This is how they feel. It's the way we're brought up. If a man is not going to view a woman as another person since he's a child, if he views her as a foreign entity, how will he learn to respect her?
Do you feel that Aditya, it's a generational thing also? The generation above you may have said it's bad, we'll try and fight it, but maybe they gave up halfway. Maybe the generation before that said this is the way it is. And that is the generation, some of whom are still saying a woman should not go out at midnight. She's asking for it if she's dressed in a certain way. Do you think this is a more defined generation? In that sense, does it have the tenacity to see this through into real change?
Well, to be fair, this generation does have a lot going against it.
Why?
All our elders
against it?
With all our elders telling us with the same thought process, exactly like how you said. With the system saying things, with people in the system saying things that the girl should have been better dressed. Why was the girl going out at night? While we were on Twitter, on the first day of the gang rape itself, people were talking about how this girl should not have been roaming around in a bus at that time.
Who said that?
A lot of people on Twitter, quite a few of them surprisingly who were not based out of India, but a lot of them who were based
in India. Is that perverse mindset, can it be taken on?
That perverse mindset was taken on heavily on Twitter. I know that there were at least 25 people for every one person who was behaving in a perverse manner, who attacked the handles telling them, look, grow up, India has progressed, you may not have progressed, but our generation is going to change.
Which is why I find that, we're talking to Mishika out there, who's convener of Slut Walk, and those who don't understand the reason why this, the Slut Walk happened, it was an act of defiance, against this regressive medieval mindset. They questioned yesterday, I think 2 or 3 days back on one of our debates, one of our participants, Rahul Ishwar, questioned the Slut Walk. But our participant who had carried out the Slut Walk went back and questioned the Rahul Ishwar back, saying, see, this was not about it being called Slut Walk. It was perhaps deliberately phrased in a provocative manner, wasn't it, Mishika? So you get the response, because unless you challenge the system, you will not change the system. And maybe the time has come to challenge the system as well. Yes, Mishika.
Arnab, I'd like to add to what Gautami said about how much is too much.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear her properly, but that was the whole idea behind Slut Walk. We didn't need an incident like this to have us come on the streets and demand our rights. At that time, when the Slut Walk happened last year in June, that time nothing had taken place. There wasn't any event as such or a brutal gang rape, as people are calling this incident, which provoked us to come down on the streets. But the problem lies in the system. You stared in the metros, you touched, all these things keep taking place. So why do you have to wait for such a big incident to take place to ask for reforms from the government? These are things that we need. These are the basic rights that we need to travel safely, to venture out at any time in the night. And it was called Slut Walk. This debate has taken place so many times, not because we dress in a provocative manner, but because we don't have to dress in a certain way or to travel in a certain time for this incident, an incident like this to take place. This girl who just lost her life, she was traveling at 9:30 in the night with her friend, and she wasn't dressed in any demeaning manner or any manner that provoked people to do what they did to her. So these kind of things cannot be justified, and it's high time that the government actually makes strict laws regarding all these offences, and not just a case of gang rape or a case of gang rape which will be classified as the rarest of rare case. where, you know, the victim is brutally butchered. We can't wait for such incidents to happen for an amendment in law to take place. This is what people here are asking for, that we want justice in the form of amendments and in the form that the punishment is actually given and the conviction is actually takes place. Not just that the charge sheets are filed but the cases are eventually dropped out.
Well, Mishika, I'm so proud of the way in which you're speaking out today, and I'm so proud to be in the company of, you know, all the young people who are on our panel today.